And welcome to today's show, the Beautifully Bruised and CPS show. I am your host, Latrika Jones. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Just wanted to come on this Friday. Thank God we made it to the end of the week, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, right? And I just wanted to just come on here and share that because I know if you were like me, a lot of different things you might have had some challenges this week, and by the grace and mercy of God, hopefully you overcame them or you working through what they may be at this time. So we know that in life, we all know life be lifing, right? There's no way you can get around that. That's just a part of life, just learning how to endure and process and keep going in spite of what it looks like or it may feel like, right? So again, I just wanted to say just thank you so much for tuning in. I haven't did a live taping in some time. I took off for some things I needed to take care of, as well as why I went through some things. I have some information to share with you that I think that can be helpful for you from what I've learned and experienced, and it is pertaining to CPS cases as well. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I always start out thanking God for waking us up this morning, because without him, I wouldn't have the strength, the knowledge, and the endurance to be able to persevere and keep going. So that is definitely where I give my gratitude and my thanks. With that being said, like I said, I did experience some things these last few days, and it was very challenging. It was almost like I got an opportunity to do some research, to going to some literally live CPS cases where people were one particular person, without disclosing her information, that is dealing with a live CPS case, going through the hearings, and so much so where they're really trying to um, terminate her parental rights. And I just want to share with you, I took down a few notes. I thought something that can be helpful someone that may be going through CPS, or you know somebody, if it's not you personally yourself, or you just want to kind of tune into Attorney Ben's platform that he has here to get advice, to know what you should know when you're going through something so detrimental, something so life-changing, something that can be even scary because you don't know what to expect once the government enter into your life regarding your children, and they're making decisions to try to change the trajectory of your life even. So with that being said, just something I personally experienced that I would like to share is that no matter what you're going through, I think it's very important that you be honest. Okay, I think it's very important that you be honest, because normally when you're not honest about your investigation or CPS, it's going to eventually come out one way or the other. Normally the truth, eventually, what they say, light eventually comes out. What you hide in the dark would eventually some kind of way come out in the light. So I say that to say this. I just think it's very important, no matter how shameful you might think it is or how bad you think it might appear to be, it's always good to be upfront and be honest, like with your attorney, with your coach, your mentor, whomever's in your corner to try to help you become successful in winning your kids back. It's very important that you share all that they need to know, right? Because that can be the very thing that CPS is going to use against you when they're in these courtrooms trying to fight you with trying to take custody of your children. And if your attorney or your advocate or that person that's in your corner, you never mention that to them, it kind of gives them it's harder to fight because they wasn't aware of it, and it can actually change your case for the worse. So I just want to share that it's very important that no matter what that may be, please share the truth, what's in your past, what you've been through, what CPS could probably try to use against you. That can really be important that your legal counsel be aware of, so they'll know how to overcome whatever it is that's brought to their attention about you. And trust me, CPS is going to dig the dirt. They're going to look for anything and everything. They will call your neighbors. They will call your ex. They will call your family members. They will go up to your job. They will go up to schools. They are rambunctious, very, very, you know what? They don't play fair. They're very rambunctious when it comes to getting information. They're very crafty about getting information as well. So, crafty is something that the devil can be. I think that's the terminology of the word that's used with the devil. They know how to create different ways to go about doing things, whether it's smearing, whether it's, making somebody feel like they're on their side or they're doing the right thing by saying certain things. So you just have to be mindful of that, right? So again, the moral of the story is just to be upfront, be honest. If it's something in your past that has happened, even you might not be proud of, you feel ashamed of, just let your attorneys and the people that's in your corner, your wise legal counsel, know what that is. Because if you don't, and if it comes out later on down the line, it can actually hurt you in trying to win your case. I just saw that recently from an experiment that I won't say it was an experiment, but it was something that I had witnessed with somebody, right? They actually obviously seemed like they wasn't telling the whole truth, and not releasing, withholding information can also like not be telling the truth also. Because people didn't know, they're like, okay, well, I told you that, but yeah, but you didn't tell me this, and this is what they're going off of. So that's what I mean when I say that. And also, I know this month, May, is a mental health awareness month. And I'm so glad that this month of May is getting that recognition. Because with the way the world is now, we all know it's something going on with everything. Like you turn on the news, if it's gun violence, shootings, school shootings, if it's people just going haywire, just losing it because there's so much stress in the world right now, dealing with, my God, like a little of everything, from jobs to inflation to everything so expensive. Sometimes that's something that can take a toll on a person when they've got so much that they have to try to figure out and pay for and handle and take care of. Even though things are going up, it doesn't necessarily seem like your pay might be going up. So people are really in a season where they're just trying to figure things out. Normally they're trying to do the best they can with what they have, right? And so that can become stressful. A lot of pressure can make you bust. It can make those pipes bust. That's something my grandmother always would tell me. A lot of people can't handle the pressure, and the pressure really gets to going when you're in these CPS cases. The pressure really gets to going when you're being accused of things, or you're an unfit parent, or you have to pay legal fees to prove your innocence. You have to go through all these services. You have to meet with all these different people at random times in your home, dealing with CPS investigations. It's the government. I mean, it's a huge giant. And again, if you're not a good one, it will get next to you. It will get the best of you. You will crack under pressure. You'll let fear take over. And I always tell people the reason why too, I always start out my show with honoring God is because God gives you a strength that you might can't even have yourself. He knows, the word says he'll never put more on you than you can bear. And when you're dealing with CPS case, and I like to share this as well. The reason why I speak from CPS is because I have been a victim to CPS years ago. By the grace and mercy of God, I had overcame my CPS case, right? And so the judge had honored that my child be returned back home where he belonged years ago. Okay, so but it was a process I went through. I'm telling you, it is a process that will, if you're not careful, it will break you down mentally, emotionally, um, um, psychologically, financially. I mean, you go through it's a true test of what you made of. Okay. And like they say, you can't have weak skin. You can't be faint at heart because you will give up. I recently spoke to someone that said that she decided to give up and to give up for fighting for her children because they felt like CPS was such this huge giant that they couldn't take them on. But I'm just made of a different cloth. I don't care what CPS is saying or what they're doing. I refuse to ever give up on my kid. I mean, that's just me, but everybody is different. I understand what the pressure is like when you're dealing with CPS. It's easily said than done. It makes you want to quit because you're under so much pressure. It's a strain, it's uncomfortable, it's shameful, it's just degrading. I mean, everything you can possibly think of, you're trying to prove something to someone that you're not, and it comes with a healthy price tag. And again, it is, I cannot emphasize enough. It's not built for the weak at heart. You really have to have a made up mind saying, no matter what, who comes, who goes, no matter through hell or high water, I refuse to move and give up on fighting for my children. Now, once the judge tell me I'm absolutely, this is over with, and honestly, not say the judge, I'm talking about Jesus, because Jesus to me is the final judge. I mean, I know we have earthly judges, right, where our court cases are held at, but God to me has the final answer. When I tell you, so many times they try to, the caseworker that I had that lacked integrity, she constantly told me, don't you want to go on with your life? Isn't it something else you want to do? What parent don't have something else they want to do for themselves, right? 9 times out of 10, when you're doing stuff to help your children, whether it's up in the morning fixing them breakfast, whether it's getting something they need for their, I don't know, their sport, football, basketball, getting, their attire together, helping them get some new sneakers, tennis shoes, taking them to their physicals. I mean, as a parent, you're constantly running around. You're constantly doing, and that job never ends, no matter how old your child get. If it's no more, you want to call just to check on your child because you hadn't heard from them in a while, just to make sure they're okay, right? So there's always something you can do as a parent. So when you have someone that comes into your brain and tell you, hey, I know you're probably, it's something else you want to do with your time, right? I know you're always giving to your kids or trying to help or spending your money and your time and your energy. Have you thought about just putting it all on yourself? I mean, come on now. Anybody would prefer to just, I guess, be selfish and only have to tend to themselves. They don't have to worry about nobody else. They would be the easy road to take, right? But as a parent, to me, you don't have that option. I don't know anybody who have given birth or who've actually adopted a child or who's raising kids as a caregiver that you, normally a person that has that heart that is taking on that task, you know what to expect. You know that 9 times out of 10, this is only going to be just a temporary situation. Raising a child is a long-term job. It is. That never ends. Okay. So, I say that to say this: don't let a caseworker or someone try to talk you into, which is seen as manipulation, is seen as gaslighting, trying to talk you into giving your rights up for your kids because you're unfit, because if it's a special needs child, they know that the work requires so much, and wouldn't you rather spend time taking care of yourself? That's selfish. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, if you've had that child and you're raising that child and you love that child, you are pretty much familiar with, this is going to be a commitment. This is going to be a sacrifice. So please be mindful, whatever you tell your caseworker, that they're going to be documenting that information, and actually they can use that against you. So I would highly recommend that you reach out to an attorney Vince. And if you can't get attorney Vince, reach out to some type of attorney that can, I would have my attorney there with me, because if you don't know how to answer those questions, they can use your answers, your responses against you. So make sure you have wise legal counsel. I'm just telling you, for me, I think that I know that is what helped to get my case back on the right track, is that I utilized a wise attorney who knew CPS laws, who knew how to speak up she knew how to speak up for me when it came to representing my case. She knew the truth. She had evidence. She was willing to submit discoveries. In other words, she was willing to do the work. Okay, bottom line. That's what it all boils down to. And you get what you pay for. You do. I choose quality over quantity all day. You can always get something, but is it worth your time? Is it worth the money? Is it worth the investment? That's what you look at. You don't just look at what the number, because again, you can get a number anywhere. You can get a house, you can get a car, you can get a relationship, you can get, just quantity things, but it's for the quality of the thing. That's why it's so important to make sure you have an attorney that knows CPS laws, like attorney Vince, an attorney that is willing to do the work, an attorney that's willing to submit discoveries and the receipts, the evidence to prove who you are. Because a lot of times with these CPS cases, CPS isn't always right? They can make assumptions off of someone that's mad because they don't like you, or it's an ex, or they're just doing it out of spite, out of a malicious bad heart or spirit. But I know by law, CPS still has to take on that investigation, right? To make sure what was submitted to them about you isn't correct. And it's nothing wrong with them following through. But again, I've been also told that if they realize that this is a case that someone just did maliciously to try to get back at you, and they're using CPS as a weapon, then they will rule, they'll dismiss the investigation and rule out, so they don't have to continue. So just be assured to know if you are doing the right thing, if you are there for your kids, if you are showing the support as a parent like we're supposed to do, and taking care of your kids, bottom line, then it'll speak for itself. And then CPS know, they kind of normally can tell when this is something that's just being done out of being malicious and not being done out of facts. Okay. So with that being said, I just want to say that if you're dealing with a CPS case, or you a family member that have family that's dealing with CPS, I think it's important that you remain stable. And the reason why I say that is, I remember years ago when I had my CPS encounter, it seemed like since they was throwing so much my way, that they were thinking I was going to break. They were thinking I was going to crack. Because let's be honest, women, we can be emotional, right? And if it's dealing with your children and you don't know what they're doing, maybe even lying, even if you don't have a caseworker that has integrity, they can do all kind of things to try to take you down and break you down. And yeah, that's normally what happens. You break. You become unfold. The pressure breaks you. But I refuse to break. I refuse to break. And that's why even at the end of the CPS encounter, I had an attorney that worked for CPS, and she came to me face to face. We was in that courtroom chambers, and you know what she told me? She said, you overcame. 2 words. You overcame. And I knew when she said that at that point in time, the judge had already ordered them to return this child back to this mother. But it's just the fact that she said that to me, that let me know that they tried every ammunition of weapons that they could to break me, and I refused to break. I did. I refuse to break. And the reason why I refuse to break is I believe in God. And God told me I've already been in that courtroom where you get ready to enter, where they're getting ready to make that final decree, that final decision of the destiny of where your child is going to be. I've already been in that courtroom. I've already walked in that room where you get ready to enter into. So all you got to do now is go, because I've already cleared the path. I need you to show me you believe in me. I need you to show me that you know how to pass this test. And I need you to show me that you have true faith in me and going in that courtroom anyway, even though you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And this is getting ready to decide where your child is going to be the rest of their lives. Do you not think I was not scared? Do you not think I didn't have fear? Do you not think I have a lot of pressure? And this is the same caseworker was trying to order everything she could to go against me, to try to make me not overcome, to make me fail. They try, even my attorney said, you must be listening to a God that's hearing your prayers, because literally everything you're doing is falling, collapsing to the ground. Every tactic they're trying to do against you, every plot, every scheme. A lot of times they prey on parents they feel maybe lack knowledge, they feel that lack resources. But what they fail to realize, I've been on the dean's list twice in college. So you're not dealing with no dum-dum. You're not dealing with somebody who don't know how to comprehend. You're not dealing with someone who don't know how to process. I'd rather think about something before I blurt out an answer. I'd rather process the information first before I present it. So when I tell you they tried to railroad me numerous of times in court, even the judge had to interrupt their attorney and tell them, hey, you're dealing with a very intelligent woman. So every question you're asking, she continuously to block the question. So I'm telling you at this point to move on to your next question. So again, it does not matter that, what they're saying about you. If you are a true believer in God, and you are doing the work, you are a good parent, and you have a right to raise your kids, don't quit, don't fight, don't give up, don't give in to CPS, stay in the fight. Because a lot of times half the battle is just you standing up for yourself and not quitting and not giving up. That's half the battle sometimes, just showing up. I'm being honest. That's half the battle. A lot of, even in life, even going to work, sometimes you just, you know, I'm just I'm just being transparent today. Sometimes it's just showing up. It's not that you're not tired. It's not that you don't have nothing else to do. It's not that you don't think it's necessary. It might not even be necessary for you to show up. But if that's what's required of you, show up, because it's showing accountability. It's showing that you're consistent. It's showing that normally you're stable if you're consistent. That's something I learned from one of my pastors this past week, and I've never seen it in this light. But he said normally when someone is not consistent, it's because the devil is somewhere up in their life. The devil is somewhere up in them. And if you think about it, it got to be something that's causing the person to be distracted. Why aren't you able to show up when you're supposed to? What is it in your life that's keeping you from not being able to be consistent? You might want to look at that, because CPS take you through all these different hearings, and it's only to probably show, are you going to be consistent? Are you going to show up? And it is mandatory that you be in those cases. And you want to be at your court cases and your hearings, because they're making detrimental decisions regarding your children. And if you're not there to witness what's being said, if you're not there to speak up for yourself, how would you know? They can do anything. They can remove your children if you're not there. They can change something about your case if you're not there. Okay. So again, being stable, being consistent speaks volume. If a person is not consistent, I wouldn't even want to do business with them. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with them, because it tells a lot about your character. It does. Believe it or not, a person that's not consistent, it speaks volume. And I thank God I'm in a season in my life where I'm content no matter what. If you consistent, great. If you not, I'm still great, because I'm gonna still keep moving. Because it's an identifier without them even speaking when they're not consistent. When you're not consistent, it normally lets you know something about them that they're not telling you verbally. So I tell you, with your CPS cases, please be consistent, because it speaks. Show up at all your hearings, show up at all your visits, at all your appointments. Be stable. And again, I know dealing with these cases, dealing with life, period. Like I say, half the battle sometimes, I can't emphasize enough, it's just showing up. Whether it's work, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's dealing with your CPS cases, that's half the battle. Even if you don't agree to it a lot of times, still go anyway. If it's worth it, if it makes sense to still show up. If it's something that can help someone, help your children, your CPS cases, show up to your court hearings, show up to your visits. I've never done drugs in my entire life. I still went and took all my drug tests. My attorney told me, just go. If you have nothing to hide and they're still having you take all these random drug tests all over the city at different locations, just go. And I did. And it get your hair pulled out, get strands of your hair, or they can cut your hair out as they can, do the hair strands test for the drug test. Urine samples, all the tests that they use to see if you do drugs or not. I did all that. I did numerous of tests. I can't forgot the number, but it was a lot of tests. Even the lady at the testing center for CPS, she said, this is strange. This is odd, because normally if a person don't have a drug history, they normally don't make them take tests like they're making you do. And they were at random, like it wasn't always planned. It could be something, I got a text at the last minute, you need to be at such and such in a few hours to get a drug test. Never, no drug history at all. The investigation wasn't even presented about me doing drugs, but they still made me take random drug tests. Life is a game, is what I found out, and you just have to know how to play it. Sometimes you have to know how to play the game better than they do. Beat them at their own game, is what I say. Play the game. And playing the game normally does not mean to give up. It doesn't mean to crumble, become unfolded under pressure. I know my grandmother had a famous saying before I lost her, and God knows if ever watched this podcast or this platform, that she lived to be 106 years old. Okay. She wasn't confined. She still got around. She still laughed. She still talked. But God blessed her to be, she would be 107 July 29th. She was born in 1917. Okay. And what she would always tell me was, Trika, I'm gonna ride this horse until it throws me off. Period. I'm gonna say it again. My grandmother, who God allowed her to live to be 106 years old, Rosalie Jones, she told me no matter what happens in life, no matter who comes, no matter who goes, no matter who stays, I'm gonna ride this horse until it throws me off. And she lived to be 106. Do you think she would have, do you honestly think she would have lived that long if she was easy to become distracted, or people telling her no, or people telling her that she's not good enough or she can't do it? No. She pursued and kept going on that horse no matter what this world threw her way. And I'm just like her. Sometimes you just have to be determined. You have to have a made up mind in spite of, no matter what. Okay? You do. Don't get sidetracked. Don't become unhinged because a CPS caseworker don't like you, maybe even picking on you, even if she lack integrity. It's a game. Know how to play the game. Don't give up. That's what people want you to do, is to give up. Don't give them what they want. You have a right to your kids. As a parent, you have rights. Okay? And I would not quit unless it is absolutely essential that the judge say there's no way for this to occur. If that's not the case, I would stay in the fight, because why? That is half the balance, half the battle, just showing up. Okay. So with that being said, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a blessed, I hope you have a blessed weekend. I hope you stay encouraged. I do. I'm telling you, I do. I believe in being content. I believe in confidence. I think it speaks for itself. And I think that my last thing I ask is, if you know somebody that is dealing with a CPS case, or just needs some encouragement, or just, want some type of wise legal counsel advice. This is Attorney Vince's platform. He asked me to host one of his platforms, and absolutely I didn't mind doing that, because I know as a parent what it's like going through CPS. Not only was I a victim to CPS, but I survived CPS, and I overcame CPS years ago, where the judge ordered CPS to return my child back home where he belongs. So with that being said, I hope that encourages you, to let you know no matter what you're going through, your story is still not done, been written. Do not put a period where there should be a comma. Keep going. Keep fighting for your children. Whatever you're going through, it's not going to last. If you keep the fight, if you keep your will, when you lose your will, to me, you're losing your fight. So it's very important that you keep your will, because the will is almost like the soul or the fuel to your soul to make you keep going in spite of what you're going through. I always tell you to keep God first, stay encouraged. Please get wise legal counsel, because a lot of people think they can get their kids back without it. And sadly, a lot of times they lose their children because they don't have it. So I recommend it, because that's something that I had to have myself for my child. So it does make sense to have a wise legal counsel like Attorney Vince. Please call into the show. The number that's on the bottom of the screen is the number where you can reach Attorney Vince's office. You can sign up for a consultation, get the information that you need to help you get the wisdom, to help you get the resources and the knowledge to get your kids back home out of this vicious, corrupt CPS system. Okay. And the system is broken and it needs to be rebuilt. Don't let your child be that next statistic, okay? Don't let that be your child's story. There is help, there is hope. Please call the number on the bottom of your screen, Attorney Vince. He is a trial attorney that knows how to fight CPS cases, and it will not be a waste of your time. So please call that number. Also, I want to tell you to please keep God first. Like and share and subscribe to this channel, because there is a lot of great information that's going forward. Like I say, Attorney Vince, he brings on wise legal information that can help you with your cases. There's live stories that comes on, even guests that works with CPS that knows what they look for and what you need to know and how to win your case. Okay. So it is something, this is a show of substance that can definitely be useful for you in many different ways. So again, without anything else to say, I just want to tell you, don't never give up fighting for your babies. Be honest about what you're going through, how you're feeling. Try to be stable about that and be consistent as well. And I'm going to end on my grandmother famous words: ride that horse of life until it throws you off, until it throws you off. Don't give up fighting for your kids. The best is still yet to come, no matter what you're going through and what you're feeling. Been there, done that. But guess what? I got my child back because I didn't quit. I hired a wise legal counsel like Attorney Vince, and our story has changed for the better ever since. So keep God first. Don't never stop fighting for your babies. And until our next show, have a great weekend.